Welcome to Tuesday's Notary Titans. Now today, Bill is still on vacation, traveling the world. So you'll see his picture, but he's really not there, so don't try to chat with him, he won't respond. Also, Carol may be in the background somewhere. She had an outage of power, and they're on generator power at the moment. And so she will definitely not be on camera. She may or may not be able to join us. So you may be just with me today. But don't worry, I'm ready for you. So remember, we have the opportunity to answer as many questions as we can handle today. One of the ways I can accomplish that is one, remember to tell me where you're from. Two, get right to your question. And then if I need more information, I'll ask you. And if we could stay away from 3- and 4-part questions, that would be helpful as well. You're always welcome to raise your hand again. And hopefully I'll get through every single person that way who raises their hand. So everybody has a chance to answer, have their question answered. Now, before I start with questions, I saw an article, and some of you may have read it. You know, the National Notary Association has an information center. You don't have to be a member to go in there, and you can read articles written by other notaries, by the staff themselves. And this article I saw was written by a signing service owner. As a matter of fact, she'll be one of our speakers at the symposium. And it was entitled, "So You're Just a Notary?" And some of the examples of other job descriptions you might put on attached to notary, I just thought were hysterical. And I wanted to share just a couple, not all of them. One of them is, I am a circus performer, because I juggle a purse the size of a small suitcase on one arm and a stack of papers in the other. And I have to drag it from my car to your house, skirting toys, potholes, dog poop, puddles in the driveway, walking on the narrowest strip of pavement because your car is all the way to the end. Your sidewalk may not be shoveled if you're in an area where there's snow, and I'm trying to stand at your doorway to balance myself so I don't fall over off of my shoes with no free hands, waiting, because you know, of course, I'm coming, waiting for you to come to the door. I have to keep your dog from jumping, drooling, and accidentally peeing on my leg when they get too excited, and I have to keep the cat from sitting on the table on my papers as we try to sign. I have to keep my stamp steady as your dog nudges my arm hoping for a treat. And I have to keep your cat from crawling into my purse. Sound familiar to anybody? I've had quite a few of those things happen. I also am a babysitter, because I've held crying babies, chatted with children about their school day or a television show, and used more crayons as an adult than I have as a child. I have to keep your kids entertained and quiet so we can get your signing done. Anybody have signings with children on board? And I'll just pick one more. Let's see. I am a master of disguise. I have to dress professionally and in clothing that conceals the pet hair from your house, the dribble from your baby, the dirt from the chair, the syrup on your table, and the mud that I might have walked through. So there was like 10 of these, and each one was funnier than the next because it recalled to mind some of the travails we have as a notary, and some of the kind of fun or funny things that might happen to us when we're out on a job. All right, and then I want to tell you what I'm excited about, since I get to be the one who gets to share that. You might have seen one of my posts that because of our waiting list climbing on Notary Symposium, we went and bought a bigger license and expanded. Hi, hold on just a second. Please stay on mute. And we added 75 more seats. I believe already 20 of those went overnight and this morning, gone. But we still have some left. So if that was something you were like, dang it, they're already sold out, I lost out. We actually do have some seats left as of now. And hopefully we will have everybody.
Enter your meeting ID.
Okay, somebody is, let me see if I know how to mute all. Mute everybody. Okay, I think you're all muted now. So anyways, that was my exciting announcement about that. let's get ourselves ready to see what people need. I do happen, many of you know that I'm a private coach, just like Bill is or Carol is, and I have students that I help. And one of them asked me a couple of questions that I would like to share on TNT today, because I think it's a question that other notaries, particularly newer ones, may have handling loan signings. And the first one was about that right to cancel. And so the right to cancel on some formats say one thing and some say the other. One says they received 2 executed copies of the right to cancel, and some just say they're acknowledging receipt of 2 copies. And then her question was, what about the extras in the copy set that I made? So here's what we recommend. All of them need to be executed or signed and corrected or initialed or whatever needs to be done to it for all copies that are at the table. You will leave all copies with the borrower, even though it's more than 2 for each, and send back at least 1 for each into the package that goes back. The reason we want you to do that is you don't want to leave a blank right to cancel at their table, because if that's the one they pull to try to cancel and they put a wrong date or they do something wrong with it, it's going to be a problem for them, and it could be a problem for the title company and or lender. So it's always important to take care of all of them, no matter how many you have there. So they have only executed right to cancels left at the table. And then the other question.
Laura, I'm here.
Oh, good, Carol. All right, let me finish this answer and then I'll come over to you. The other question is an AKA signature affidavit, although I've seen it on other documents, and that is they'll have last name, first name, right? How do they sign? Last name, first name? They should sign their normal direction, right? First name, last name, even though it came up on credit the other way around. So I just wanted to share that with everybody else. And before we go on to questions, Carol is on. Yay! She has enough generator power. Carol, I know you're not using.
We actually, I'm sorry, we got power, would you believe, about 10 minutes ago, but my internet's unstable, no video today, and I'll be lucky to be able to talk and answer questions.
All
so
right.
I apologize.
So Carol.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. So Carol, if you do want to jump in and answer something, then let me know. Speak up, because you're not muted. Otherwise, we'll let it go. And is there anything that you're excited about today that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I do. It looks like we're making a move, and it's very positive. We're in escrow. We're going to be due to close in the next couple of weeks, and we are moving to Texas. And we have a ton of graduates in Texas. We're very excited about it, and we're looking forward to having good internet service. And other than that, we're just being busy, and our graduates are getting work within like a few days after getting certified, and they're doing great, and we're really proud of them, and just excited to just be here above ground, like Bill says.
I'm gonna unmute.
That's all.
Yes, it's great. Thank you, Carol.
I'm muting myself.
Yeah, I will tend to stay in mute when somebody else is talking in case there's any background noise on my end, and then I'll unmute myself again. So let's go to the questions. And the very first one that I have says, Allentown, Pennsylvania. So tell me who you are. You're from Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vanessa. And my question's pretty quick. So I did my first sign-in on Friday. It was pretty lengthy. My first actual real sign-in, what I would consider real, it was 200 pages. But so like when you're doing the journal and you have a document where both the husband and wife are signing off on, in the journal, can you just use, because what I did is I did the line for like acknowledgement, and like there's 1 X per line. And then I had the wife sign right underneath him on that same, because their addresses are the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than doing, does that make sense? Is that the way you're supposed to do it?
So I'm gonna help you think through this, and the way I like to answer questions is to think through the logic of what it is. And I want everybody else to remember that many of your questions are state specific when it comes to the notarial act or journal. So first I'm going to ask you, do you know what your requirement is? Are you required to have a paper journal in the first place?
It's optional.
So if it is an optional tool for you, then you can do it any way you want. And if you want to put two on a line and have them both sign, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed.
Excellent. Thank you for asking your question. Next one is Elise out of Georgia.
Hello.
Hi, Elise.
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you great.
Wonderful. I am just starting to research this, and I'm just curious if you can give me an overview of maybe why I should do the notary training through Notary Coach. And once I actually start the training, will there be a way to connect with someone in my state for specific state laws?
In Georgia. So a couple of things. Of course, it would be great if Bill was here because Notary Coach is Bill's program, but I can tell you, a little bit about it. It's a monthly fee. I believe it's currently $33 a month, and you can stop it at any time. You also, I believe he has a 7-day free trial if you just want to poke around in there and see his course and look at that. He has a comprehensive course. He does not issue a certification like Carol does or the NNA does. He recommends you go to the NNA, take their test and their background screen and get their certification because that's nationally recognized. So that's how his program would work. He offers personalized coaching within his program. And I believe he does have people who are in that program who are in many different states, including Georgia. Also, I know he's connected to a couple of young women who are in attorney states. It's either Georgia or one of the other attorney states over there that he could likely connect you with as well. Now, just for your information, Carol's training, she also has graduates who are from Georgia as well. And there may be people from Georgia on this very call. If you are, and you want to put yourself in the chat to identify yourself, if you're open to connecting with Elise, that would be great. We could see that in the chat. All right, Elise, does that help you? Unmute yourself.
Yes, may I ask Carol to give me a little bit of information? I haven't seen her training course.
Carol?
Hi, Elise. Yeah, hi, this is Carol. We have some very successful graduates in Georgia, which I think would be willing to help you out once you get started. You need to understand that you cannot handle real estate transactions that are covering property within the state of Georgia. However, you can handle real estate transactions for any property outside of the state, which means that people living in your area who have homes in other states, refinancing, selling properties, you can do those transactions. You can also connect with attorneys in your state who do not like going out and doing signings themselves, and they do hire people to be on their staff, notaries in particular. What we offer is I've been in business for 11 years. I'm a retired escrow officer in California, an escrow manager for over 2 different companies, 11 years in business, and we've got so much to offer now to our students and graduates. It's 3 courses basically. You can go to notarytopro.com and check us out. We are certified. We do certify our graduates, and our certification now is accepted nationally. It's taken 11 years to get here. So if you want some information, go there, and then you're always free to call us, and we'll give you, the answers to your questions. Does that help?
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol. Now, before I go on to the next person, I want to point something out because this is a great learning experience. I'm going to go back to the first question with Allentown, Pennsylvania. In the meantime, while Carol was talking, I was looking up in the law primer for Pennsylvania about the journal because I see in the chat room, Kathy Miller of Pennsylvania said the journal is not optional. It is required, and only the signature was optional. So when I saw that, I went right to the guide to look. And when I looked, it is required, it is not optional. And it says for each notarization, the journal will contain the following entries. That wording tells me you notarize for a spouse, you notarize for the signer, that's 2 separate notarizations. You need 2 separate line entries according to what the law says, each notarization. All right, so there's the revised answer, and that's why it's so important that we know our own state laws. And when you're not sure, check it out. Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to go to, is it Marcia Morris? If you'd unmute. I'll give you a moment. It's either Marcia. Is it Marcia Morris? There you go. Marcia, would you unmute yourself? There we go. Marcia?
Hear me?
Now I hear you.
Oh, okay. I have a question, and then, but first I have a follow-up to what you mentioned earlier about the signature name affidavits. When you said the person that had the last name first, comma, first name.
Yes.
So I thought it said we're supposed to sign exactly what's listed.
Well, you know, they're performing they're performing their signature, and that's not their signature. They're acknowledging, yes, that version is me, and this version is me, and this version is me, and this version is me. And if it's not me, they're putting never known as instead and initialing that. So
even if it had like their first name, middle initial, last name, then they would just sign their normal signature.
they should be able to, and I've been doing that, and I haven't had any rejections, where I'm just having them sign, and they're signing to say, yes, this to the left, this printed version of my name, I know it came up in credit, and that is still me. And the only time that they don't, it's not that they're probably not going to reject it doing it the way you're doing it either. I don't think you're going to get a rejection that way either. I'm just saying is we can't force somebody to sign their name backwards. That's not their signature. But by putting their signature there, they're acknowledging or admitting, yes, this version of my name, it's me. Does that make sense, Marcia?
It makes sense. And I forgot to state my state from California. Okay, then my actual question has to do with credible witnesses. So just to clarify, are we putting the credible witnesses information, ID information, in the box for the signer's ID information? Are we replacing the signers with theirs?
So Marcia, yes, let me finish that thought out. If you have one credible witness, meaning you know them, you're going to mark the little box that says credible witness, and now we know the ID in that box is for the credible witness, not the signer. If you have two credible witnesses, you're going to mark the little box that says credible witnesses, and you're going to actually use two columns. If it's the NNA style one, it'll be the ID box and then the additional information box. One will have the ID and signature of the first credible witness, and one will have the ID and signature of the second credible witness. So it's all on the same line entry.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. All right. So the next one is Chris. Chris's iPhone. Let me ask for you to unmute yourself.
Hey, Laura, it's Chris.
Hey, Chris. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question for you. So a couple of times I've been called out for some general notary work. The person wanted me to notarize a document. It was a residential document, like a lease she had for one of her renters. So I went and I looked at the document. There was like no place for me to notarize it. So I informed her, you really don't need this document notarized. But she was very insistent on it being notarized because for her, it seemed like me notarizing it would make it legal. So this is the second time I've had an individual call me out to notarize a document, which didn't really need to be notarized, but they felt that having it notarized made it legal. What do we do in a situation like that?
What a great question. Chris, what state are you in?
Florida.
Okay, in this case, the state won't matter, but what I will tell you is this. Many times people will request a notary when the document doesn't require it for their own purposes. For instance, they think it'll stand up in court, they think it's legal, they think it's better, they have all these, myths about what our notarization will do for them. So here's what I share with them. This document was not set up to be notarized. However, if you would like my notarization, I'm happy to provide it. Just know that I'm not making your document any more legal than it was without it. So I always disclose that I don't make your document legal, but if they still want it notarized, I'm happy to provide the service. It's not going to hurt the document.
Okay.
Just not adding value, but sometimes their own peace of mind is all the value they're looking for.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Chris. All right, let's go to Rachel. Rachel in Tennessee.
Hey.
Hey, Rachel.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Carol, and everybody. I received my commission just today, so I'm pretty excited about that. I have a question, and I actually see that Kimberly Diaz has also kind of brought this up in the chat. This morning, I received multiple emails from Coast to Coast, and I feel like I heard you guys talk about this in one of the recent TNTs. I kind of two-part question. The first is, I haven't done anything yet, working on getting trained, but I wanted to find out, the notifications are for loan modifications. So that's the first question. I'm not sure I understand that. And the second question is about the fee. And this is Kimberly's question as well. She's in LA and it's for $50 to $60 for 150 to 200 pages. Mine are significantly shorter notifications for $30. So I guess my question is that a reasonable fee? And secondly, what could I expect from a loan modification?
So just in general, a loan modification is typically only 2 documents that are notarized. They're duplicates of the loan modification agreement. Okay. And then if you have 1 signer, it's 2 notarizations. If you have 2 signers, it's 4 notarizations. And then there may be some other documents, but it's not very big package and they typically are not paid very high. Now that's in general. The specific signing service, Coast to Coast, Carol, would you like to please jump in there?
Yes, very much so.
Thank you.
Okay, I've known the owner of Coast to Coast. She used to have another signing service for years. I've known her for 20 years. They are so busy. I just talked to her yesterday. They're doing 1,000 loan modifications a day all over the country. They don't pay well, but what I'm telling new people, all of my new graduates, grab them. Take all you can get, because they are tremendous experience. And when you're new, it's not the experience of going through the documents, although people are terrified about it when they start. It's just the process of getting to the location, walking up to the door, getting into a person's home that is really difficult to overcome. So I suggest when you're new, take these. Unless they're too far and they're going to end up costing you money, do them, get the experience with them. When it comes to the refis and things, you can take a few at whatever they offer, $50, $60. I don't like that. It's not worth it, especially if you have a large set of documents. But just for the first few weeks, put up with those signings, do them. They're great experience. They are a good company to deal with. They do offer a lot of support, and I say go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Carol, for adding that. Okay. Let's get to, is that Hina in California?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hold on. Let me get you back. Oh, come on, Bubbles. Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my question is on grant deed or deed of trust. We have to write our title and name. Can we write signing agent, or do we have to write notary public on a deed of trust?
So you're notarizing a deed of trust or any other form of deed, and that
Right.
whenever you're notarizing, your title is notary public, and it's never anything else. The only time you would be using signing agent is on the Patriot Act.
Okay.
You're filling it out and signing it.
Right.
That would be a time when you would use signing agent.
Signing agent. But other than that, any deed or any other document, it's got to be notary public.
Any document where you're performing a notarization, you must use your official title.
Okay.
Okay.
That was it. Yes. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you for having a great question. Michelle, I don't know where you're from or last name, but Michelle.
Hi, Laura. It's Michelle. I'm here in Phoenix. How are you?
I am good.
Good. Hi, Carol. I'm good. So long-time watcher, first-time talker on here. So I just want to caveat on the last person that spoke. So this morning on some of these social media pages, the same question was asked regarding signing as signing agent versus notary public. And there were over 300 responses to this. So of course I went in there and I wanted to see what was going on. So there were some very seasoned notaries public in there stating that it is absolutely incorrect to ever put signing agent on any of those documents. And so of course it went back and forth. So after so many people responded to this, it almost makes it kind of confusing. So they were even stating nowhere in any notarial law, notary anything, does it say to ever write signing agent in any of these documents. And of course, I was trained on the Patriot Act, and I think that they were specifically discussing the name affidavit. Same thing, affidavit or identification. And so I side on the Patriot Act side of it is not notarized. I sign my name, comma, signing agent. But with so many people having such different answers on this, it's just confusing, you know, and almost kind of mean in some of the responses that came back.
Right. So you heard the answer here. That is the answer. We always use our official title when we notarize documents, and the Patriot Act is not a notarization. We will not use our official title. The title of signing agent is an umbrella title. That's basically a made-up title that allows us to sign something under this other capacity called signing agent when we're not actually performing notarizations. Carol,
Laura, there is something. Laura, I'm sorry. There is something I'd like to add to this, because we absolutely agree that when you're not acting as a notary public, you don't use the word notary. It is absolutely, you're not to do it. However, I will tell you that I have had recently, just in the past few weeks, graduates who have called me and said that the Patriot Act has required notarization. That I've never seen that in all of my years in this business, and it's just starting to pop up.
So
Yeah,
Carol,
I
it
haven't
has
either.
been around. I have notarized Patriot Acts in the past. It did have a notarization. There was a place for the signers to sign. There is another version. It's rarely used, and I haven't seen it now in a couple of years, but there were many years where I saw both versions out there. So if a notary is getting a version where the signer is signing it, and then there's a notarization after it, then of course we would use Notary Public instead.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You are
Nice to
so
see you and
welcome.
talk to you.
Thank you. Good to be talked to. All right. So let's see. I got Crystal's iPad. Where is Crystal's iPad located? Let's see if she can unmute herself there. There you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
I hear you, Crystal. Where's your iPad at?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Virginia.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I tried to put Virginia on there, but I couldn't do it. So, okay, but my question is, over the last, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 weeks, things have slowed down where I was getting maybe 3 to 4 offers a day, and now I'm down to about 3 to 4 a week. And they're usually coming from coast to coast with the loan modifications, but every time I say, yes, I'm available, I haven't received an assignment yet. So I'm just wondering, is there a slow, I'm only into this maybe 6 months. Do we have slow periods? And during this time, I know I can sign up for more agencies and things like that. But what do you all do during these dry times?
So a couple things. Yes, there can be slow times. And the real estate market has its ups and downs, but it's up right now. So you might want to be thinking about, do you have enough visibility or exposure so that you're getting offers from many different places? That could be an issue. Another one might be, take a look at your profile and what you've got going on in that profile, and is it inviting, business? That might be another thing to look at. Those would be the first two things I would look at if I was coaching you personally. I would tell you that now is not a slow time. Now is an up time, and we're barely keeping pace with the amount of work that's out there. You could be in an area that perhaps they're not working at the moment, because they work in like areas that work an area, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. And then they start advertising or marketing for refinances in another area. So that could be just a temporary as well.
Okay.
And the second part of your question is, well, what do you do when you're not doing that? As most of you know, I do a lot of specialty work. Most people call that general notary work, but it's really a combination of many other specialties. Loan signings is just one specialty I happen to have. I even specialize within that because reverse mortgages is another specialty within loan signings. Outside of loan signings, that's not impacted by real estate, would be the hospital signings, jail signings. I get a lot of the public getting me on Yelp or my website asking for a single deed to be notarized, or powers of attorney are most popular, as well as last will and testament. And of course, that's when they have the attestation or affidavit that goes with the will. So that's the other kind of work that I would be doing when I'm not doing loan signings.
Okay. All right.
And it's a good
idea.
idea.
Thank you so much, Laura.
You're welcome, Crystal. It's a great idea, everybody, to be diversified. If all your eggs are in one basket relating to real estate, and real estate will come down again, it's not going to stay like this. You need to have some other relationships developed. You need to have some other specialties developed so that you can step right in and do that other kind of work. We can't have just loan signings as our only way to provide a service, because when we're not needed that way, we won't have any other business.
Laura, I'd like to interject something too.
Yes, Carol?
Oftentimes they get into the routine of getting so many signings that they're too busy to market themselves. So this is a really good time to spend really getting out there, marketing yourselves to signing services if you're working with them. Follow up, connect with them, send them the thank you notes for all the work they've provided.
Yes, working on your business. We work in our business doing the service every day, but when we have opportunities, sometimes, by default, but sometimes we have to design them in, working on the business so that later we have more business. That's a good time to do it. And if you haven't looked at Laura Biewer Presents, which is the LBP replay library, I have about 10 different specialties, each video an hour and a half or more, that you could start preparing yourself for that kind of business.
Okay, awesome information. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Laura, there's something that we should address here.
Okay.
The Adams. This is regarding the signings for people in hospitals and what I call legally capable and legally competent people.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit? I think that people should know.
I didn't see it, but I'm assuming they want to know, how do I know if they are alert and aware signers that would qualify for notarization? Does that summarize the question?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's something that needs to be talked about, but we can't really go in detail this way, but I'd like to address it as quickly as I can.
All right, so this doesn't just happen in hospitals. This happens to me when I go to somebody's home and they just happen to be living at home, or I go to assisted living or skilled nursing or hospitals. Any one of these kinds of environments can have a situation where your signer is not alert and aware. And so I don't exactly test them, but what I do is I look for the symptoms that they're not alert and aware. I look for the opposite of alertness and awareness. So are they confused? Are they not able to follow instructions? Can they not communicate to me directly without the intervention of a family member or another person in the room? Are they able to understand or at least agree with me what the document is that they're signing? And if it's something they're signing to give something away, like their rights to make decisions, they're not giving their right away, but they're allowing somebody else to make decisions. Can they tell me who that is? These are simple ways for me to ascertain that they are at minimum alert and aware. There are a couple states where it is a requirement, whereas all the other states, you want to make sure you're dealing with a signer who is willingly signing the document of their own free will, and they can't do that if they don't know what's going on.
There's something else. There's something I'd like to interject also.
Okay, Carol, go ahead.
In doing these, I always emptied the room. When there was family members or anybody in the room, I asked them to leave so that I could speak to the person who's signing this power of attorney or whatever it is. Is somebody, encouraging you to do this? There's also other factors, medications that they're taking. Do they have Alzheimer's? So there's a whole list of things that need to be addressed when you're doing these types of signings. And it is called not just competency, but it is called legally capable. Are they legally capable of signing those documents?
Okay, and so I just want to add to what Carol said. There are lots of factors that go into what's making them alert and aware or not making them alert and aware. And of course, we are not in the position in the 5-10 minutes we're with them to, start taking down what medications are they taking, do they have Alzheimer's, this or that or the other thing. The symptoms that result from that, from medications or from Alzheimer's or from other issues that are not allowing them to be alert and aware, is what you want to look for. And then if you see that, now there's some questions going on about their condition. Because what we don't want to do is refuse a notarization that would have been perfectly fine. So let's not jump too quickly. I always start with the assumption that they are alert and aware. And when I see symptoms that they're not, or if I see or hear that somebody is pushing them or telling them, I agree with Carol. Those people should be asked to leave the room until the notarization is completed. All right, so I hope that addresses, between what Carol shared and what I shared, those kinds of signers. All right, Janine.
Hi, this is Janine from Daleville, Alabama. Can you hear me?
Yes, Janine.
Okay. I had a question. I wanted to know when you're dealing with, well, I won't say it was a sign, it was a general notary work, dealing with, I think it was a will or either trust. Well, anyway, the father needed to sign, but the problem was he had an accident where he couldn't barely use his hand to write. So,
Hold on, let me do a mute all, and then I'll have to read.
Okay.
Okay, and now let's unmute you.
Okay, I'm back.
Go ahead.
Okay, what I wanted to know, in a situation like that where a person is unable, because of their disability, they can't really sign, can someone help them, or what do you do in a situation like that?
Okay, so that is state specific. And some states, like mine, California, they can do a signature by mark with 2 witnesses. And many states have adopted that. There are other states that say, if all you can do is an X, we're going to consider that a signature and we don't need to do anything further. In other states, there is something called signature by proxy, where they are allowed to designate another person to sign on their behalf. And there's special verbiage that goes with that. So it depends on what your state allows. And off the top of my head, I don't know what Alabama allows specifically, but you need to look at your state statute to see if they have a section for disabled signers, signature by mark, signature by proxy, to see. There are a few states that just don't address it at all. And now you're going to have to make a decision about what are you going to accept. Because when your statute doesn't allow for that, it doesn't, I shouldn't say allow, it doesn't mention it. Now we're in that gray area where the notary has to make a decision about, what can I do here? What is in the spirit of the law? The person is putting something on the document. How can I help facilitate this? It might be one of those options I gave you, but typically I haven't seen any states that say it's okay for the signer to have somebody else's hand on their hand making the signature.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, you are welcome. Let me see where we're at. Miranda? Were you able to unmute, Miranda?
Okay, yes, I'm just got through dropping off a package. I have a quick question. For directs, how do you know how much to charge them, like for a VA purchase and things of that nature?
When you say direct, you mean working with title companies directly?
Yes, ma'am.
So, we don't set fees. There isn't a standard. It's going to be a little different for everybody depending on your state. What I've seen as a normal, meaning different title companies, seem to be somewhere in the 200 range. It could be 150 to 250. What impacts that are a lot of things. It could be that's what that title company is willing to pay. It could be that's the geographic area you're located in, and that seems to be the going rate, and that's what they're offering. So there isn't just one number that can be given.
Miss Laura, what I see in the groups as well, and I'm in Florida, I'm sorry, is that people say, well, look on the settlement statement, and what it has in the closing or notary is how much you should get. but I don't think that's too ethical.
Well, the problem is you've already accepted the job, right? You're not going to see that when you get the call to accept the job, right? Isn't that what you were asking me?
Actually, I have to invoice them. They told me to invoice them for my fee for like the closings that I've done. I just invoiced them so they can pay out. But this,
so Miranda, you've already done the job, right? So what I'm talking with you about is what should you be telling them up front your fee is going to be?
Oh,
that's what I'm telling you. Is you don't want to wait till after you've done the job and say I'm charging 200, and they say, well, we only pay 175. You need to know up front, this is what you're charging, and you set that fee. And if your fee is 200, then you need to let them know up front, okay, I've got availability, that'll be $200, blah, blah, blah. And then when they get your invoice, they won't be surprised. And what it's going to say on the settlement would be probably that 200 for the notary service.
And Laura, there's something else that she should know.
Uh-huh.
As a retired escrow manager, I know this very well, that there are areas where when you're doing a closing, I think they probably still do the same thing. There's something we used to call padding.
Yeah.
And so we would oftentimes use that notary fee and maybe put down $300 when the notary fee was only $150, because that was our protection from some unseen costs that might be involved at the close of escrow that we needed to cover.
Yeah, sometimes I see that now as a miscellaneous line item. I'm not really seeing that big pad, although I will tell you that sometimes they want a piece. So they maybe you only are charging them 150, but they'll put 200. And it could be the pad, or it could be they're taking extra. I don't know. But,
or the new escrow officers aren't smart enough to do what we did.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Miranda's question. Up front, we should all be determining what our fee structure is. And then we let them know, this is my fee, I'm available. And now your invoice is going to match what you quoted. Okay?
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Hank.
Hi, Laura, Carol. How you guys doing?
Great.
I'm here in New York. I got a question for you. I saw something on a Facebook, Notary Facebook site yesterday. The person took a picture of closing disclosure for like mother-daughter, but at the bottom where you get your closing costs and fee to close, it had two different amounts for fee to close. It was off by $100. I'm trying to figure out do we stop a closing there and try to reach out? But if we don't reach anybody, do we ask the clients, is this a deal to stop the closing now? Or do you want to continue and then try to rectify that $100 difference with either the lender or settlement or somebody?
So here's the deal. First of all, are you saying there was two disclosures, one for the daughter to sign, one for the mother to sign, and they were $100?
Correct. It was $100 and
right.
$105 difference
between the two
for them to pay for them to pay.
Right.
Like one had 3,000, one had 3,106.
Okay, so that is a clarification that needs to be made, and it's not a deal closer unless they say it is. They can make a phone call and see, why is it that way? I wouldn't stop the signing. They might say, look, it's $100, whatever it is, and they might just move forward. But if they really want to find out, which is the right number, then yeah, by all means, they can call their loan officer and find out. Or if they've been in contact with title directly, they can find out that way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't necessarily be a reason for me to stop.
Yeah, most of the time we get to these closings, we can't even reach anyone. But somebody recommended on there, look at the settlement statement, and the settlement statement would be more accurate as far as the closing costs.
But we don't always have a settlement statement. The closing disclosure took the place of that. We'll have it on a purchase, but we might not see that. We won't have one on a refi.
Okay, all right. Because sometimes when I'm doing them, I even see it says alt settlement statement.
Yes. If there is one, yes, I would take a look at that.
Okay,
But
and
again, that's a number issue, and we don't address number issues. So if they
right,
have a number issue, that needs to be pushed back to title or to the lender.
right. And you talked about multiple streams of income. About 8 months ago, I signed up with Maverick, but I haven't heard from them until about a month ago. Now every day they calling me.
Yes.
And the fee they charge is almost close to the closing amount for a regular refi.
Yeah, it's a good deal. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting on a package today. I love working for them. They're easy to work with. It's pretty consistent. I don't print the documents. They come to me overnight.
Yep.
So I enjoy it very much. I like working with them.
I got now it's about 4 or 5 of them in the office that calls me now.
Good. That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's, Marcia, did you raise your hand again? Or is that just left over?
I raised my hand again.
Okay, Marcia.
From California. Just want to confirm, so I've seen some jurats that say subscribe and sworn to me or affirm before me on this blank, comma, by. It doesn't have on this blank date. The word date is missing from the first part of the sentence.
So if you're in California and any word is missing from that statement, don't use it.
Okay, I haven't
apply every word 100%.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to confirm that. That's what I've been attaching one. Okay.
All right, Liz.
Hello.
Hi, Liz. Where are you from, Liz?
I am from California.
All right, go ahead.
Is I have signed up with SnapDocs, and I've been, that's pretty much the first one that I've done. And I noticed that I do get offers and text messages, but after that, there's nothing that really happens. So I'm just kind of wondering, you just mentioned Maverick. Is there other good ones to sign up with? And how could you make it maybe run a little bit smoother so that you're offered more jobs?
So I have a couple things for that. One is that SnapDocs, I'm not very excited about their process. And so it's a cattle call, and somebody seems to always be a little faster than the other notaries, and they get it. And of course, part of that is there's the preferred notary that goes into that algorithm. Signing up with different signing services directly is a good idea. And of course, Carrie Rivera has notaryreviews.org that you can, and they're all rated. So you can know, hey, this is a good one to be with. This is not such a good one to be with. And she stays on top of that. And every month she produces a revised list. There's a nominal fee to be a part of that. And I highly recommend it for new notaries so that you don't get caught up with a signing agency that's not paying you, or they're taking 2 or 3 months to pay you. So that would be where I would focus, is to try to get yourself in other people's databases, not just SnapDocs.
Yeah. And what's another good way to get hooked up with the attorneys and hospitals and things like those?
So hospitals, I highly recommend that it is not the same system. One is the registries, and there are 2 or 3 great registries that seem to work pretty well where the public can find you, because that's what you're talking about now. And that would be 123notary.com. That would be notarycafe.com. Those 2. The third one, and I have it third, Notary Rotary is great for the loan signing stuff. I don't get as much from them for other stuff. But those would be the 3. So you want to be in the yellow pages of notaries. The second thing that you want to do is make sure you have a website, you have a web presence. So you have a Yelp profile, you have a Google My Business, my best friend ever. So those are a couple places you want to develop web presence. And then specifically with hospitals, you want to build a relationship with them. So you're not going to build it going in and saying, here's my card, use me. You're going to build it by offering something to them first. And I like to offer education. There's a problem in the hospital system. They give bad information to the clients. Clients are not prepared for us. And so I offer a free, I already put it together. It's unbranded. You can make it your own. It's off my own website. Go to coachmelora.com and you can download that PowerPoint and a training guide, and you can provide 10 or 15-minute in-service to hospital staff. And you could do it via Zoom. You don't have to go in to do it. And that's how you start building relationships there. And then with attorneys, some of it is I'm called by attorneys because of my website. And on my website, it indicates not only that I do trust, but I actually have pricing. I have a lot of information that they understand. I know what I'm doing. I know what kind of package this is. So that differentiates me from other websites that they might go to. All right. The other thing is you can reach out to them via postcard or via letter. That's another way to do it. You can go in person. I don't do a lot of in-person right now. And of course, once you get one or two attorneys, they tend to reuse you, and they're a small knit community, and one will refer you to another.
So to start those, you know, doing Zooms or information, who do you see or talk to in the hospitals to start?
Try the Director of Social Services.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Welcome. All right. Next is Latanya.
Hello.
Hi.
I am from Williamsburg, Virginia. And I have a question. I have signed up with a few signing companies that are Fidelity approved. And I've been told that, you know, you have to be Fidelity approved to work with their company. So I submit all the paperwork that they request to for their approval, but then I don't hear anything, but yet I get access to their portal, you know, to start receiving signings. So the question is that once you're approved through a signing agency that is Fidelity approved, does that automatically make the notary Fidelity approved? And if they are, is that transferable? Because I see that when I apply for other companies as well, the first thing they ask is, are you already Fidelity approved? So if I'm a Fidelity approved through another signing agency, can I answer that question as a yes question, or is that no, or is it just specific to the signing agency?
All right, got it.
Laura, would you like me to take this?
You can if you'd like. I also have an answer. Go ahead.
Oh, you go first, and then I'll add to it.
Okay, I just want to say this. There are two levels of Fidelity approval. There are signing services who are Fidelity approved, who have notaries that work for them, and they work for a Fidelity approved signing company. And that company, if you work under them, they will let you handle, the title companies will allow you to be the notary. Then there's what we call the notary has their own Fidelity approval. That's a higher level. Typically, you need to have so much experience. There's about a 25-page application, and you have to receive. You usually have to be sponsored by somebody at a title company that says, yes, I'd like them to be Fidelity approved so I can use them. And then you have to have a response back from them that says, yes, you are approved. So it's a little more involved. You have to have references. They're going to check you out. It's not the same as you could be a brand new notary with no experience, and you could get Fidelity approved because you're working for that signing service. They have the approval, not you. Carol, what would you like to add?
Well, Latanya, I believe you are a graduate of ours, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I will tell you that I can't speak for everyone, but we've had some really terrific success with our graduates getting Fidelity approved within 6 months of starting. They need an endorsement from the signing services. And like Laura said, you do have to go through a process, but they're not requiring that minimum of so many signings, although a lot of them are getting it. So if you have a question or anything, give us a call, okay? Because we'll give you the name of some of the companies that are
Okay.
recommending our companies, our graduates.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol, for adding that. Okay, let's see. I see that it's 1 o'clock. And although I still have a lot of calls left, we're just not going to get through them all. I tried to move through them as quickly as I could, but appreciate everybody participating today and having such great questions and thought out questions. And thank you for getting right to the point, because it helped us move through as many as we could. Sorry I could not address the chat. It's very hard for me to listen to you and start reading the chat and responding. But feel free, if your question cannot wait till next week, you can schedule a quick call with me. Just go to my website, coachmelaura.com, and you can have a free 15-minute call with me, and then you can ask your question, and I'm happy to take care of you. No obligation for anything else. Bill will be back the first week of October as well, just so you know that. And we will be back next Tuesday to do it all over again. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for joining us, Carol.